Welcome back to the channel. We're going over the SP 500, the Nasdaq 100, and exactly how the stock market is moving. Are we crashing? Is the stock market going to complete turmoil? Are we bouncing back with that volatility we had at the end of the week? Let's get right to it. So the first thing we're going to look at is going to be the S&P. I'm going to show you a trend that we've been kind of following. I didn't really mention this in the last video, but if you don't know, I'm also posting videos all throughout the week, giving you updates how the market's moving, how I am day trading it, how I'm looking at the market, key zones, and everything like that. So this is an area that we were talking about heavily in Discord, and J-Ream in particular was the one mentioning this specific region. So you can see you've been riding this overall wave to the downside, making lower highs on the S&P, and the Nasdaq is going to give a better visual, but you can see you've also made a lower low. But one of the key things I want to mention here is as you've been breaking down on like the S&P, for instance, the key resistance that you're seeing, the next level, is going to be the previous lows, right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep showing you these previous lows. And some of the areas are a little bit more respected than others. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you exactly what's happening here. So you can see you break down from this previous level on April 25th, and you never quite get back there. So this one's a little bit more concerning because you didn't really get past that region, but that was also the first major break. Now you come down, this was your lows about April 26th, the day after. You can see you got a nice little bounce. Now it's nice support there, resistance here, quick break back to that zone, back down, resistance here, back down. Previous lows again here about May 9th through May 2nd. Resistance here, came back, resistance here, quick break, back down. Now, looking what is happening here, what do I think is going to happen? So we have our previous lows right here, and I get it, guys. A lot of little circles, stay with me. But what I'm looking at here is how are you going to react to these lows? Now, so far, what I will say is this has been a great reaction. You've gotten one touch, came down slightly, then boom, you shot right back through it. So the thing that I'm going to be looking for is this area about right here, 394, around 393. So I'm going to have a pretty nice little block around this region here that I'm going to be watching, 394 to around 390, high 393s for potential resistance. You saw a really nice volume spike that is worth mentioning. Now, what I want to do is go take a look at the Nasdaq. This is going to give you a better viewpoint. We have a few bits of news we need to cover as well, but I want to wait before we go down that rabbit hole. So what we're going to look at here is the Nasdaq, and the Nasdaq's going to give you the best visual because this is going to have, you know, after hours, things like that as well. The Nasdaq is following this to a T, and basically since the top of around April 4th. Now from this region, you can see 1, 2, 3, the same amount of touches, and you're really respecting those previous lows as well. So if we just grab and make some of these previous low ranges, you can see almost touching there, making lower highs in those regions, obviously, but you continue to respect it. You're pushing down once again, you're respecting the previous lows right here once again as well. And you can see you're rejecting, pushing back down. And then you broke through these lows here, pushing back up. So what am I anticipating? What am I looking for? Let's talk about that. So I'm going to just keep this range here and delete this bottom one right here. So am I looking for a touch of this zone? It's totally possible. It really is. But more of what I'm looking for, specifically on Nasdaq, is the one we need to watch because it's going to be trading 24/7. The SPX, you can watch it too with ES, but I just love watching Nasdaq because it's what I've traded for so long. Is I'm seeing maybe a push up to 12.1, maybe to 12.2.4, maybe to those highs. Besides that, I don't see much more. Now, let's say you do, in fact, because anything is possible. You can come out and push, and you could just break right through and just start running like crazy, right? But it could happen. If you get above this block or this support right here, really above 12.5, you start getting to 12.5, in my opinion, you're looking pretty bullish. You're looking really good. But what I will mention is we've gone over this a lot over the past few weeks and days of key areas you get to break above to be bullish, but you never quite get there. So I'm going to continue to give you those areas you're looking for, and it's about 12.4 to 12.5. So you get to 12.4, 12.5, you're looking really good. You're looking really bullish, potential reversal, maybe grab some swings. That's what I'd be looking for. But you need to be watching out because this is the Fed's lineup for the week. So on Monday, we have commercial paper, exchange rates, selected interest rates, not that big of a deal. Tuesday, this is where things spice up. 12:20, yeah, and that's gonna be that's Eastern, I do believe. I could be wrong because it is in Vegas. Need to verify there. Chairman Powell will be speaking. That's very, very big. That's gonna move the market. That's gonna be a big boy. If you heard me last week talking about when Powell spoke, I didn't think it would have too much effect. And before you comment, it did not have too bad of an effect on the market, because if we come back and look, you spiked right here. This is where you started talking about right here. You ended up running to around 12.6 and then you dumped. So it did not have too bad of an effect on the market. If anything, it was just more of the same, which was good for the economy. And then you dumped the next day based on data. Now, from there, I think this will have a much larger toll on the market. Then number 3, Wednesday, you have your Fed minutes. This is big. This is another big day. Wednesday, Tuesday, they're already both big. Thursday, Friday, you probably start heating down a little bit. Now, you can also see this on investing.com. The first website is fedreserve.gov. You can just check the calendar there. Investing.com, bread and butter. Everyone knows about this one. Another thing you have to look out for on Wednesday is you do have, I believe, Fed Bullard speaking on Wednesday. So we're going to find her really quick so you have it. And you can see Brainerd. Brainerd is also speaking right before the Fed minutes as well, which will be big. So you have a lot of stuff going on this week. It's going to be full of volatility, no doubt. One key thing I want to talk about, though, is going to be the VIX. And this is something that we didn't really see move at the end of the week. Now, the VIX, we remember from what happened with Ukraine and Russia, you ran to about $35. This is incredibly, incredibly bad for the market. If you don't know, the VIX is a volatility index and basically measures the way the market is moving. Particularly, it goes up when the S&P goes down. This is the easiest way to explain it. But it moves a lot quicker to the upside when S&P is moving quicker. And then it'll kind of die down when there's less volatility. So what is happening here? Now, what I will say on the VIX, and it's something that I don't think you really should chart. I really don't believe the VIX is something that is extremely respecting of patterns and charts and things like that. But what I can say is that 35 is a very key level. You have retested this on May 12th and through about May 2nd, and then you've came back down. But even with all this volatility in the past, 2-3 days, you've seen some kind of downside. You've seen a lot of turbulence around the 32 region. So we need to see how this moves. But if VIX gets above 35, everyone needs to have alerts set on this. If you're on TradingView, you just come over here, you push the plus, set it like right above 35, 36 roughly, add an alert. If it breaks above $36, you are in very bear territory and things will start getting bad because you have not broken above this level since pre-COVID. That's worth mentioning. Now, you've had some really bearish days, arguably worse than the COVID days. However, what I will say is that you have not gotten a VIX spike to those levels, so you haven't seen a quote-unquote absolute crash yet. So that's going to be a big signal for that. So VIX is very big. I'm going to close it up though with yields and going over what's happening here is you are seeing, some decline here. And, I have to admit when some of these things are happening and I have to talk about them. So when you see VIX has been declining since May 9th. May 9th, it topped at around almost 3.2. And now you're pushing back down, kind of hitting this bob around 2.75 roughly. I do believe this will start to hold around this region. I also mentioned bonds would probably start going up and getting a bounce around this time as well. And guess what they are? We're going to go over that here in a second as well. But you can see you're pushing down a little bit here. But I do believe as we get into minutes and things like that, yields will start to spike back up. Looking at that 10-year versus 30-year spread, this is very big for everyone, right? So we've looked at this. You are getting a little bit of consolidation down to the downside at about 93%. I do think this starts heating back up back to 1% where you have a complete inversion or rates are completely flipped, indicating that bear market. So I do think you're not out of the woodworks. I don't think you're just, dumping back down yet. It's not what I think. And then last, we're going to look at yields and see the overall health of the economy. Now, I marked this zone out weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. This is our first support. You came down into it around 112 and you started bouncing. Based on previous levels and how you bounced previously from some of these dips. Look at the volatility. Look at some of the volatility you're getting here from these dips. You're not seeing none of that right now. So you're either going to want to see a lot of volatility coming in on Monday to where bonds are getting closer to 128, 125. Or, in my opinion, this is what it is. It's just a little bit of a bounce, and then you're preparing to come back down closer to 100, which, again, has me very, very, very bearish on the economy as a whole. That's what I'm looking at right now. So just key notes going into Monday. I do see a little bit of upside, particularly in the early session of Monday, possibly Tuesday. I see some upside, maybe 394, 393. Now, personally for me, it's not worth trading that upside. I would rather just wait, take my day trades, wait for that key downside pressure, because we know we have some news coming out with Powell and then Fed minutes on Wednesday, and we know there's gonna be a lot of uncertainty in the market, which we could probably predict is either gonna lead to chop or probably some more downside based on what's been happening with data and how consumer indexes and consumer stocks are really getting hit, i.e. Target, Walmart, Costco. Those are all getting hit very bad, which are big signs that inflation is here to stay. And before I let you out of here, I want to thank our partners over at Margex, who are the sponsors of this video, and it's who I use to trade all of my cryptocurrency. You see, you can use them for leverage, but right now they're having an extreme deal for you with the bear market. As you deposit anything above $300, you will get a 15% bonus using my code on your account, Tyler15. So if I'm doing my calculations correct, I do 300 in here, 15% bonus. That's a free $45 in my pocket. Now the customer support, the deposit process, and the whole system in general is extremely simple. If you cannot get customer support to help you, just DM me on Twitter and I personally will help you along the way as well. Margex is my go-to cryptocurrency exchange, and it's who I am using going forward. Remember, the code is Tyler15. Have a good Sunday, traders.